Welcome back to Zaka Stokvel Insights, and today we are focusing on how Stokvels and burial societies can strengthen their financial strategies and build sustainable businesses. With me in studio to discuss this further is my partner in crime, Thabiso Masudubele. Thabiso, thank you once more for joining us. Now, with this specific group, I'm quite amazed that they do have low premiums, and they've kept that for 10 years. So, from your experience, what advice would you offer to Stokvel and burial societies when it comes to saving towards assets like equipment for starting a business like this?
I think there's just two things that I'd like to touch on from that question, man. Is that first, the fact that they've been saving the same amount over a long period of time, that's something that they need to look into. So, for instance, there's this thing called inflation where prices go up and. So, we understand that people can't afford a lot of things, but you then have to factor in those things as you do things. So, a lot of Stokvels, not just this one, but a lot of Stokvels that we deal with, they retain the same contribution, but the benefits go up. And those benefits are not aligned with what the contribution is. So that talks to the inherent risk that then exists for the Stokvel. So for instance, it is just not practical to pay 50 Rand and to get, a payout of 10,000 Rand, for instance, if you are a funeral, if you are a burial society and it is underwritten.
But Thabiso, just to step in there, because what you're saying does make sense, but in this case, they seem to be located in an area or community where, they're experiencing unemployment and some people cannot afford to pay. So if they are now increasing all around, how will that help them?
No, it's to also look at the benefits that they're giving out. So you've got to balance the two. So if you're going to keep the contribution and its affordability issue, quite agree. But you've then also got to cap your benefits. So you can't say we continue giving, contributing 50 Rand, but next year instead of giving each other 5,000 Rand per burial, we're going to give each other 10,000 Rand. But the premium has stayed the same. So we just need to make sure that as you increase your benefits as a group, you've also got to look at what does that mean in terms of your contribution. So that's the one. So in terms of asset acquisition, I think that's, one of the challenges. I mean, we deal with a lot of Stokvels. One of the areas where we help Stokvels is just this area of asset acquisition, because Stokvels will meet at the beginning of the year and they'll say, we want to get into the, funeral service business or whatever business it is, and we'd like to buy these things. And so you engage with them and say, we've been planning this thing for the past 7 years. So why haven't you managed to do it? So it boils down to 1, commitment, 2, discipline, and 3, just basic admin and the desire. So that service that we then provide to them is to say, if these are the things that you'd like to buy, the tools for the business that you envisage for yourself, let us help you to say this is how much that equipment would cost, and then let's work backwards. How do we help you save that money towards that particular goal? So that responsibility of ensuring that you actually meet that objective no longer lies with the group, which might have other things that they're busy with. But it lies with us to say, as long as you're making the contributions, we'll manage and make sure that at the end of the year, you achieve that objective of buying the equipment that you want to buy, whether it's catering equipment, whether it's doing this, that, or the next thing, but at least we'll set you on course to be able to have the equipment that you need for the particular business that you want to operate as a group.
Just staying on that thought, Thabiso, how would you help them identify, sustainable markets beyond funerals? Because I can imagine how limited they are right now in thinking that this is the only opportunity to opt for.
Yeah. So some of the support service that we give is, what's important is to then say, what is the service that you bring? What's the unique value proposition that you are bringing to the party? So you can imagine if they say they're going into the catering business, I mean, they probably wouldn't be the only guys who are doing catering. So you've got your funerals in your own locality, but you can go beyond that and look at, for instance, there's a group that we engaged with, so they don't only cater for funerals and weddings and those sorts of things, but they look at where there are events. And then you can also say, if you're doing catering, you can start specializing and say, our catering is specific. Perhaps it's, umleto, or, you choose something that's very specific and it becomes your forte. So this is how you branch out to other things. You start saying, you cook something and you specialize with that one thing. And then you choose, is there a market? Is there a tourist market, for instance? In our area, is there a place where tourists are likely to go? There's an abundance of tourists. That might be a market there. Are there corporate companies who have year-end functions or who have, conferences and those sorts of things? That's another market. And then once you've identified those markets, we then help them come up with a strategy to say, if you're going to attack that market, this is the strategy that you'd need to employ. For instance, if you say you want to cater at weddings as well, so one of the things you'd have to do is to make yourself visible and show the work that you've done. So we'd help them capture the work that they've done and almost have like references to say this is the quality of work. And then we use things like word of mouth, because in local communities, even far wide, beyond those communities, people speak. Word of mouth says, hey, there's that group, they actually know their thing, they do this. Or if you're looking for a particular 3-course meal catering, talk to those guys. So we help them then develop that strategy that looks at the different markets that they're going to attack. But we also help them on the admin side to make sure that, we always say Stokvels are businesses. And so the members themselves have to consider themselves as members of a business that they want to grow. And that for us is the important aspect, that people have to recognize that they are in this together, but they want to achieve something. And to achieve something, you need the necessary admin, the necessary discipline, and the necessary commitment.
And those are such crucial factors to look at if you want to be a successful Stokvel group. I think I would like us to look at how they can look at protecting themselves financially when looking at doing these events. So stay with us for more on Zaka Stokvel Insights. We'll be back shortly.